Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. We can see that Bitcoin is back at 38.6, 38.7k. So we're going to take a look at the chart. Cardano has not recovered really. Bitcoin has recovered a little bit. For Bitcoin, that is exactly what we said earlier today in the earlier video when Bitcoin was still a little bit lower, that we can now expect a small recovery because it was on the shorter time frames a lot of, very much oversold. But we're going to take a look at that. Someone asked me in the comments to actually talk about where the Bitcoin price could be heading after the correction is finished, because it's so depressing only to talk about decreasing prices. And I agree to a degree. I agree fully that I've been talking since November, obviously, or since the end of November about dropping prices, that we are going to get into the yellow target area here, sitting between 20 and 29k. I still expect that. We're currently heading further towards the target area, and in a minute we're going to zoom in and take a look at what the latest moves are. And by no means I think the downtrend is over yet. But of course, it's also important to understand where could the price actually be heading. And by the way, for various cryptos, and I'm going to grow that in the next few days and weeks. I've got my 2022 and longer term outlooks on Discord for everybody who is interested to become a channel member. So you've got it there with a higher level chart, and not only for Bitcoin but Ethereum. I think I've got XRP on there and Polkadot. I've got many more to add. So we're going to do that as well. But hey, there you go. So we are here. That is my view. I've got the Fib extensions and the Fibonacci levels on the chart here. So maybe first of all, where could we go? As I said, I would expect it to go, and the price to go into this yellow target area down there, here where my mouse currently is. And as I said, this is sitting between 20 and 29k. Where do these levels come from? 29k comes from the wave A. You've got the wave A low here from June 21. That was actually here back in June 21. That was just below 29k. And then the 20k, they come from the previous bull market high. And also from the 200-week moving average, which is currently sitting at around 20k. And the price has so far never really dropped below the 200-week moving average. Maybe just slightly, but that was it. So that is why I've put that there. And pretty much here in the upper half of the target area, I've got the 61.8% Fib level located. So this is the area where I would expect the price with the highest probability to turn around, and get back into an uptrend. It's at 27.4k. So that is the level that I'm really looking for. But where can the price go afterwards? So just looking at the extensions, because I assume that this here is a wave 1, what Bitcoin did here back in April 21, and we're now in a wave 2. So this is all based on the Elliott Wave method. If you have no idea what that is, check out my second channel. You can find a link in the description. There are also some Elliott Wave tutorial videos on there that give you an understanding of the basics of the Elliott Wave method. But the wave 1 is basically the first impulsive wave to the upside. The second wave is, the wave 2 is a corrective wave. It consists of A, B, C. So a 3-wave structure that you can see here very clearly, A, B, C. This is the second wave. In a second wave, you typically come down into the region between the 61.8% Fib level and the 88.7% Fib level. More likely is actually not necessarily the 61.8, but actually between the 78.6% and the 88.7% Fibonacci levels, and that is between 17.3k and 11.2k. So in the worst case, Bitcoin could even go down to these levels, but I don't think that's very likely given how much the altcoins have already corrected, and historically that Bitcoin found support at the 200-week moving average and has never really gone below the high of the previous bull market. Okay, so where could then, if we say the next wave up will be a wave 3, where should that go? Well, a wave 3 is typically at least the minimum target for a wave 3 is the 1.618 extension, and that is at $101,000. Now if we assume Bitcoin will go down to 27k, that's pretty much roughly a 4x, not quite, 3 to 4x for that. But absolutely, this is the minimum target. So I would not even be surprised if we reach the 200% target, the 125k or 124k. And sometimes the price even goes all the way up to the 2.618 extension at 161k. But very likely, I would think it will be sitting somewhere between 101 and 124k, and that would be the wave 3. Bear in mind, after wave 3 you get another correction, which is the wave 4, and then you get your wave 5, your final wave to the upside. Okay, and we can't really calculate yet where the wave 5 is going to go without knowing where exactly the wave 3 is going to stop. So that's one perspective. That's based on the extensions and the Elliott waves. And let's take a look at what other indicators are telling us in terms of where the price can be going. So I talked about that yesterday in the membership live stream, the golden ratio multiplier. So you can actually see, you can find that on lookintobitcoin.com. And what you can see here, and again, that is just a proof that TA works, because a lot of people always say, right, TA doesn't work. But yeah, it does work, because in every bull market, in every peak, every blow off top, Bitcoin reached one of these Fibonacci extensions. Yeah, exactly. And you can see that in every peak, the lower extension was reached. Yeah, so the higher extension basically never was never reached again. So here at the first peak, you can see that dotted line here, which was reached. The next peak was the dotted line below that. The next peak was the dotted line below that. The next peak was the dotted line below that. And then the last peak, which was here in March 21, that actually reached that purple line, which was again the next lower line, which is called the 3 upper bull high Fibonacci extension in this case here. And the next line would be the so-called 2 low bull high. And if I zoom in, we can obviously see that the price is currently below this orange band here, which historically would be longer term, especially very attractive buying prices. So even the current price level is, from this point of view, very attractive. But the next level that would be reached as per this would be this 2 low bull high, the red line, because the purple one was already reached. Can you see that here in February, March 21? And the red one would then be reached in the next attempt. That is currently sitting at 95K. This obviously goes up over time, yeah. So chances are when we get to the next peak or blow off top, it might have already reached 96, 97K or whatever, yeah. What is important to understand as well is that this level can of course be broken a little bit, yeah. So if you take a look here in March or February, that 3 upper bull high in purple was broken a few times as well, yeah. So it's not that we necessarily really have to touch that area. We can also overshoot it a little bit, but that would also be very much in line with that 1.618 Fibonacci extension level that I have just shown you. Okay, so let's see if that is actually going to work out. But bear in mind that is only for Bitcoin, so the altcoins typically outperform Bitcoin. All right, let's go and zoom in here for Bitcoin at the more imminent price moves, because I know a lot of people are interested in that. Now, what did we do? Last video we identified here this ascending trend line that did provide support. We also identified that we can probably expect a little bit of a recovery now, because we were just oversold, and again that is happening now. So also here pretty much as expected. We talked about on the 1 hour chart that Bitcoin was oversold again. We talked about this possible bullish divergence, which we can however only see on the hourly chart at the moment, which means you're making lower lows on the price, but you're making higher lows on the RSI. So we had to recover a little bit because, Bitcoin was nearly oversold again. It's actually moved back into the bullish range now on the 1 hour chart. So there is more upside in terms of imminent price moves on the 1 hour chart. The 4 hour chart is now recovering, and that is necessary. It has to recover. And that was my worry here when we moved down here yesterday again. Yeah, I mean, we talked about when we had this green candle here, or when we broke down here, came down to a 38.1K yesterday. I already told you that we have to recover a little bit, because on the 4 hour chart we were just massively oversold, or at least oversold. Yeah, you can see that here on the 4 hour chart the price did get below 30, the RSI value, and then it recovered, but only up to 35. So not really a good recovery, and then it moved down again. Of course, found support here, because where does it want to go, right? It was already nearly oversold, so it can't really drop too much more. And therefore you now see a little bit more of a substantial recovery. Nothing crazy, but you see more recovery. It's good to see the 4 hour chart go up, the 4 hour RSI. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes up all the way to 50. That could be in line maybe with the price going all the way up to 39.5 again. That would be that previous resistance here, yeah, around 39.5K. So it depends. We've got here on the 4 hour chart various resistance levels. So the first one I would say is 38.8. That is here these candles closing, and then we've got here up here 39.5K. That is certainly something where I think the price could go to, certainly. So Yeah, I think we see a little bit more of a recovery now. Nothing too crazy, but on the 4-hour chart you can see as well bullish crossover here. And yeah, this is pretty much in line what we talked about in the previous video. However, we are still heading down, yeah, and what came down here was really impulsive. And on the daily chart, we have still much more room for further downside. We still have that bearish MACD crossover at play here. The RSI on the daily chart also confirms further price drops. Yeah, it is still here at 44, 45, so there is much more room for further downside, but it just means on the shorter time frames we were massively oversold, so we have to consolidate a little bit to the upside. And overall, I do expect in the next few weeks the price to land in my target area down there between 20 and 29k, but in no way this will happen just in a straight line. As we've seen it before, you will see irrational runs to the upside that just cannot be predicted. You will see those corrections, you will see those consolidations because the price is oversold and everything, or the RSI is oversold, and you might get very strong moves up where people think again that here the low is in, right? But in my view the low is not in, and as I said, I will continue to talk about my primary scenario here. We talked about the alternative, which is still not off the table. If the price breaks above this ascending trend line here, which is very close to that 46.5k Fibonacci level, if we break above that 46.5k level, then the price can unlock, or Bitcoin can unlock much higher prices. We could even go up to 55, maybe even 65k before I then expect the price to turn around. But that would only be unlocked above 46.5k. All right, let's talk about Cardano. Cardano has dropped below that 85-cent level. That was a bit of support. We are also heading further south towards the target area, and Cardano hasn't really recovered much, whereas Bitcoin has. And I think the reason we can find on the chart, and again, it's exactly what I told you earlier today in the video that I made this morning about Cardano, that we obviously broke this head and shoulders neckline and the price was starting to recover. And I told you that I wouldn't be surprised if we just do a retest here and then head further down. Now we need to see now if that level breaks, but I think this seems to be an important form of support, now possibly resistance. And if that level holds now here at pretty much 83 cents, then Cardano will have a sell-off afterwards, pretty much guaranteed, because this is quite a bearish sign. In technical analysis, when a previous support level gets retested, well, gets broken and then retested as resistance, that can be quite bearish and then can fuel another sell-off, because it just means that the price can't get up there anymore. And then we could, in the next move down, I think in the first instance, to that support level again, here on that descending wedge in orange, here that descending trend line, which would be at 78 cents, and then also to that previous low here from the 24th of February, which is sitting at 75 cents here. I've got the red horizontal support line. And for Cardano, I would expect also here that the price is heading further to the downside into that target area here between the 88.7% fib level at 30 cents and the 78.6% fib level at 55 cents. That is absolutely what I do expect. And again, I have to expect it, especially until Cardano manages to break out of this descending channel and makes any attempt to make a higher high or so. And we haven't really seen that yet. So that's my view here on Bitcoin and Cardano. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe and leave a comment for the algorithm. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership, where you can get access to the Telegram live chat, the Discord server, and a weekly live stream as well. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.